Our Bright Star exercises with Egypt give us a great opportunity to do that.
One of the main areas where Bright Star has grown is the involvement of more Air Force, Marine, and Special Forces. Improving the interaction of the various participants is one of its most important goals.
Well, for one thing, it forces us to be able to tell somebody else how we do business. And in conjunction with their inputs, it makes us turn around and take a look and see whether or not what we're doing is compatible with other forces.
Jake, get that smoke out of the way if you can. Knocking it out? Just kick it.
The desert environment like that found here in Egypt is familiar to many American military members involved in this exercise. A large number of them are veterans of Operations Desert Shield, Storm, and Calm. The pilots and crews of these EF-111s are one example. In fact, their unit is still flying missions over the Saudi Arabian desert.
Yeah, we're very familiar with this. We have a deployment in Saudi Arabia and one in Turkey.
This is the 7th Bright Star exercise. The first was held in 1980 as the result of a U.S. military cooperation agreement following Egypt's 1979 peace treaty with Israel. Sergeant Ganyala Marcus, Air Force News, Cairo, Egypt.
As Sergeant Marcus reported, this year's Bright Star saw more Air Force involvement than in past years. Senior Airman Bettina Kluber examines the Air Force role in the joint exercise.
Bright Star 94 is the 7th exercise of its kind between the military and the Egyptian forces. This year, the Air Force was trying some new tactics.
One of the elements of this exercise that we have not done before, and it certainly is a first, is we have brought the B-1s into the host country on a very long deployment, and in addition to that, we have been running global power missions with our B-52s, launching from the States, coming all the way to the range, dropping bombs, turning around, and going back home.
This year's Bright Star had the largest number of U.S. forces ever taking part. Of the 15,000 American military members taking part in Bright Star 94, some 2,300 are airmen, most of which come from the 366 Composite Wing from Mountain Home Air Force Base, Idaho. The involvement of the 366th marks another first in this exercise. Almost an entire composite wing away from its home base, demonstrating its capabilities.
This is a real test bed for them because they have such a commitment with such a variety of airplanes to go so far, so fast, with so much. This is a great exercise for them to be able to come to a location like this.
Another aspect of the Air Force role in Bright Star was the emphasis on electronic warfare. Aircraft capable of jamming electronic transmissions took part, and Americans practiced electronic warfare with their Egyptian counterparts.
Here is basically a training exercise mainly for the Egyptians. We're just here to show that they need some kind of early warning jammer.
In the past few years, the desert has become a familiar place to the Air Force. Besides training the Egyptian Air Force, the U.S. counterpart also needs training to work in this environment. For both Air Forces, Exercise Bright Star is the answer. Senior Airman Bettina Kluber, Air Force News, Cairo West, Egypt.
Air Force assets, meanwhile, are still involved in a long-running operation in Turkey and northern Iraq. The latest squadron involved in Provide Comfort is doing double duty, supporting the operation while getting ready to move. The 53rd Fighter Squadron from Bitburg Air Base, Germany, will soon be moving to nearby Spangdahlem Air Base. And as Sergeant Clay Cogsdale found out, the 6 F-15s from the 53rd in Turkey won't be coming back to Bitburg when their tour in Incirlik is finished.
These F-15s are among 6 from the 53rd Fighter Squadron rolling out at Bitburg for the last time. By now, they're at Incirlik Air Base, Turkey, supporting Operation Provide Comfort. But when they return next spring, their new home will be at nearby Spangdahlem Air Base. All this is keeping the 53rd very busy.
None of us here, none of us in the unit have ever practiced moving a squadron from one location to another while maintaining our combat capability and readiness, while deployed to a second location.
This is the last mission for the 53rd before Bitburg's 36th Fighter Wing completes its mission transfer in February to the 52nd Fighter Wing at Spangdahlem. The move is exciting for the 53rd because the F-15s will be working alongside F-16s and A-10s.
It gives us opportunity. It gives us a greater amount of training opportunities being at a base with diverse types of aircraft.
Besides bringing the F-15s to Spangdahlem, the 53rd will also bring a rich history, a history that stretches from World War II to Operation Desert Storm.
You know, I don't think everyone is walking around saying, I'm part of a very significant event here, but I think maybe when they're as old as I am, and you look back and reflect on it, it's obviously a very significant time in the history of the U.S. Air Forces, and particularly those in Europe.
When the 6 F-15s return in April, they'll still be a part of the 53rd, but at their new home at Spangdahlem as part of the 52nd Fighter Wing. Sergeant Clay Cogswell, Air Force News, Bitburg Air Base, Germany.